You can, John. Yeah. Hi, Michelle from Mississippi. Hi, Andy. So it's your first. Awesome. John has also not been involved in a workshop, so this sounds like it's his first. Nice. Stephen, this is your first as well. Okay, cool. So we have lots of people. Yeah, Andy, these are always recorded, and I'll show you where they end up. Actually, it's a great question. So I'm going to go to our YouTube channel. And let me know if you can see this. Oops, turn that off for a sec. So we have a YouTube channel. So it's ACDSee / ACDSee Photo Studio on YouTube. So I'll just fire that in there and you can bookmark it right now. So we have this YouTube channel. This is where all of our videos goes up. So this is updated pretty regularly. So if I go to the playlist section on our YouTube page, you'll notice that there's a section called Workshop. If I go in here, you can see that I have, it's sort of navigated by the most recent. So the most recent will be the top one. So we did a workshop, let me see, was it last week? No, it was two weeks ago, I believe. That was called Why ACDSee is Awesome for Organizing Images. And then before we had one on cataloging and replacing skies and old photo restorations. And this goes back actually several years now. I'm actually curious when the first workshop was. Let me just see when I uploaded this, because we actually had to start a new workshop, new YouTube page a number of years ago because our old YouTube page was randomly deleted by YouTube for some reason. Okay, so our current workshops on the page go back to March of 2019. So there's almost 4 years of content of workshops on here. Each of them run about an hour. At minimum, they'll run about 30 minutes, but they always run about an hour or so. So, and so you'll see that as of today, we have 51 videos on here. So we have at least 51 hours of content here. So this is pretty cool. This is a lot of content, but this is how you find us. Yeah. So it's just on our YouTube page, Photo Studio, ACDSee Photo Studio. And then it goes to just go to our playlist section there. Clayton asked, at some point, could you address how one can take GPS data from an image that has it and add it, preferably in bulk, to images that don't? Well, we can do this using maps. We might be able to use, to some extent, edit existing GPS data too. Let me see. Like I'm going to just showcase it using maps today, Clayton, because it's the easiest way to just drag and drop your images and it'll give you an exact latitude and longitude. But what we can do is if I just go to a folder that contains some image with GPS data, and just to let everyone know, we haven't actually started yet. I'm just answering some questions. Let's go to EXIF. So I don't believe this is going to be copyable. Let me see. We might have to add it in maps. Yeah, also, it's just not easy to copy because you can only copy one field at a time. Yeah, so we'll showcase that, doing that in maps today, which is probably the easiest way to do that. But if your image already has GPS data, what you can do is you can find it using the map function, and then be able to essentially take all the other images in your folder. So, Control A or whatever, and drag them and drop them in relatively the same location or similar locations based on the GPS of the original image. So, yeah. But we will get to that momentarily. Your image would already have GPS data in the event of 3 situations, Alexander. Your phone or camera has its GPS function turned on. So it's essentially you have allowed your camera to be accessing, location data. And when you go to take a photo, it's basically will be cognizant of the latitude and longitude of where that image was taken. And that's essentially stored in the file's EXIF metadata. So when you go to put that file into ACDSee, we'll get into this, but there's a marker that indicates that information has GPS data. And as a result, it can be essentially added to the map, or it will already be associated with the map function in ACDSee. So the other instant is what if you've already added the GPS data in another software or something like that. So if you've added that content to EXIF using some other form of software, it should show up as long as that latitude and longitude has been added to the EXIF field. So yeah, 3 instances. Basically, your phone or camera already has GPS and location data turned on, or third one is you've already added that information. But basically what I'm going to be showcasing to you today is, I mean, how that comes up, how to see GPS data in general, how it's located on the map files, and then also to take images that may not have GPS data and then add GPS data to that information, those files using the map tool. So, and then we're going to talk about, let's see here. Yeah, we're going to categorize those images based on their maps, location on the maps as well. And then we'll probably use mobile sync to just showcase uploading an image that in this case I took today that has, pardon me, map data. And for those of you who are not aware, when I say ACDSee mobile sync, so ACDSee mobile sync is a phone application. It's for both iPhone and Android phones. It's freely downloadable on your Google Play Store or Apple, whatever the version of that for Apple is. And then what you can do is essentially take your files that you've taken on your phone, and then it just basically uploads them very quickly to your ACDSee without having you to plug in anything. It's a way of syncing those files to a folder in ACDSee. Okay, so we got a bunch of people that are new. We're about full on attendees here, which is great. We're going to start momentarily here. Okay, what else am I forgetting? Oh yes, that's right. Top of the workshop information. So as I said, please check out our YouTube page. So if you can't stick around for the whole workshop, although this one's going to be a bit shorter today, you can check out that link. And that is where our workshops are uploaded. So it should be uploaded on videos. If you just go to the videos tab, it'll be all uploaded in a couple days, probably 2 days to or so. But the other thing is you can always just go and subscribe. And so that way, when you're subscribed, it'll tell you when we've uploaded new videos. So if you go to that page and just subscribe and then click the bell icon, that'll give you notifications for that page. Second thing is I'm going to provide you also with my email so everybody has it. My email is aprice@acdsystems.com. And really don't hesitate to email me with any question at all. It's please email me. So generally what I do in terms of emails is I'll try to get back to people in about a week or so after they email me. Depending on how complicated the questions are, I'll often go to our developers to ask for feedback and stuff like that. But the range of topics really varies. So a lot of what I do is actually just filter user suggestions in regards to things that users want to see in the product to the respective departments or developers. So if people are suggesting that they want to see some form of panoramic stitching or something like that in the software, well, what I do is I will send those emails directly to the developers, and then they add it to basically a backlog of suggestions or things that people want to see in the product. So really do, if you want to see some sort of addition to ACDSee, please email me. And the reason why is because that feedback is like the developers are actively excited to receive it. So I just really want to put a lot of emphasis on that. Second, if you have any just questions or concerns in regards to stuff that I wasn't able to cover in the workshop or questions that I wasn't able to answer, I'll do my best to find an answer for you. And then the third thing is if you have a question in regards to a larger structural problem in ACDSee, some sort of support issue that you're having, I'll try to do my best to track down any information in regards to that or put you in touch with support if you need it. So please email me. For the rest of this workshop, if you have any questions that come up during the workshop, just fire them in Q&A. Peter asked, to amplify, In manage mode, right click on the image that has GPS info, select metadata, then copy and select the GPS box and deselect the other two. We can give this a shot. Let's see here. Click on the image that has GPS, select metadata. Oh yeah, copy metadata, nice, okay. I guess GPS coordinates make sense. We don't need to copy IPTC or ACDSee metadata. So if we copy that and then paste it into a different file, this is actually totally new information to me. Paste, and it gives it that. Oh, so alternatively, I mean, I still can use the map to do this, but I can also just right click and add it with metadata here, which will paste it, and then it'll be added with this little node here, which indicates that it now has a map coordinate. So Peter, thanks. That's really cool. And that answers, let's see, there was a question earlier that answers. But that's one way of resolving that issue. And the other way to resolve that issue is one we're going to talk about now. So that's awesome feedback. Gary asked, is this webinar focused on 2022 version? Yes. What features will you be talking about that is not in Ultimate 2021? None. This will also be relevant to 2021. I've not yet upgraded. That doesn't matter. And I'm thinking about maybe moving to Mac. Yeah, so Mac also has this GPS function, or the map tool in this case. But yeah, no, everything in this, there's no, the map function is a bit older, Gary. And so the functions that I'm talking about today are going to be relevant to you. Okay, please. And again, questions in Q&A. Thank you. Jay Nichols asked, I record all my driving and walking on GPS. Nikon has a facility to geotag photos using the timestamps on the photos and the GPS files generated. This is great for a batch of photos taken the day or on vacation. Nice. I've not been able to find something similar in ACDSee. Well, we're going to answer that question today, aren't we, Jay? Okay. All right. And yeah, thanks again, Peter. I really appreciate that. There's lots of things I don't know in ACDSee. And it's always nice that users know. Okay, so I've opened up ACDSee in manage mode. Just for reference, everybody can see this little blue hover icon that appears around my mouse. I just want to make sure that people can see that. So just comment if you can. Just want to make sure, just so people can see where my mouse is headed. Awesome. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Paresh. Thank you, Gary. Okay. Thanks, everybody. So what we're going to be talking about today revolves around manage mode. Okay, and just as a refresher for those of you that are not aware, manage mode is located on the left here and is the default mode that is opened when you actually start ACDSee for the first time. So modes can be manipulated, essentially moved into in this top right-hand corner, but primarily we're going to be talking about manage mode today. So in manage mode, I have folders. So if I go to my pictures folder, which is just the generic PC pictures folder in this case, I have a bunch of subfolders. Excuse me. One of which is just entitled landscape here. So in landscape, I have a bunch of images. Now these images have varying data. A lot of them will have embedded, or rather a lot of them will have categories. Some of them might have some ratings. As you can see up here, there's some ratings associated with these images. Some of them will have categories, as you can see, indicated by this little category icon that appears in the bottom left-hand corner. Some of these images will have keywords associated with them. And the way that we can see those keywords and categories is by looking on this properties panel on the right here. And if I go to organize and open up these two panels here, you can see that this image, for example, has a category, a category of nature and places, and a keyword of architecture, buildings, and Turkey. So you can see that these images will have varying information. As you can see on the right, it changes per image that I have here. So there's lots of different icons that are associated with different metadata and development options in ACDSee. And the reason why I'm drawing attention to this today, so things like embedded pending is an icon that comes up when your file requires you to embed the metadata that you've assigned to it. So images that have a rating of 5 or just a newly added, some form of newly added metadata, that will be, there will be an icon that pops up that says you need to embed that metadata. And just as a refresher as well, metadata in this case is information that is textual. So things like categories and keywords, things like IPTC information, things like ratings that are not don't actually affect the visual appearance of the file, but rather indicate some information about the file. Now, different softwares in regards to different softwares in regards to editing, right? So ACDSee or Photoshop or Camera One or whatever, right, will handle metadata in different ways. So it'll allow you to rate your images. It'll allow you to apply keywords and categories, and it'll allow you to edit stuff like IPTC information and EXIF information. And so as a brief refresher to that, ACDSee metadata, so these things like categories and keywords that are in this organized panel right here, these are proprietary to ACDSee. And what that means is that this information is something only ACDSee can see, okay? But information like that's listed in the metadata panel here under IPTC and EXIF are universally viewable to anyone regardless of platform by which they're viewing it. So a lot of these images, by the way, that I'm looking at will not have any IPTC or EXIF image information in their listing here. And the reason why is because they're stock photos. If I was to have taken these photos with my own camera, this information would be filled in. But so IPTC contains content like title and headline description, its own set of keywords, which are also subsequently called tags, I believe. Things like copyright notice and the creator and all of this sort of like information as it pertains to who the person is that was taking this photo. Whereas information like EXIF, right, is information that is like shutter speed and f-stop and ISO values and the make and model of the camera that took it, et cetera, et cetera. So this information is based not so much on the user that took the photo, but rather the camera that took the photo itself. And as a component of that, one of the things that we're talking about today is GPS information. And so if I can draw your attention down to where it says latitude reference, longitude reference, when we add an image to our map function, or when we take an image with sort of this information like latitude and longitude turned on our camera, this information will actually be filled in, and it will indicate to us that this image already has GPS information involved. So Daniel asked a good question in regards to embedding metadata. So I'll take a brief pause to answer this question. So basically, if I have an image here, right? So let's take this row of images, for example, and let's say we want to add some different metadata to these images, right? So we're going to add ACDSee metadata in this case. We're not going to touch the EXIF or the IPTC fields. Let's just simply rate these 5 images. We'll give them a rating of 5. And in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I have these images selected. I'm just going to click 5. And as you can see, they now all have a rating of 5 located up at the top. Peter, can you see that? Or sorry, it was Daniel that asked the question, Daniel. So now when I've made this simple change of rating this file, right, there's this little icon, this bin that appears on the bottom left-hand corner. And so a lot of icons that we're interacting with will tell us really valuable information about the file. And what I was getting to with this is this icon that appears above these images is the GPS icon. But just to answer your question while we're here, this is the embed pending metadata icon. So what this means is that this image has had some ACDSee metadata attached to it. And what we should do, okay, is that information has been added to the database. But as a security measure, one of the things we can do is we can actually attach that rating to the file itself, so that in the event of us losing our database or maybe wanting to reconstruct our database in the future, what have you, that information can be attached to these files. So it is a really good habit to get into, is going through the process of going down to your metadata column, right-clicking on your images and embedding your ACDSee metadata to your files. Now, At the end of you exiting the program, this will often pop up. It'll often ask you to embed the metadata before you close the program itself. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that my ACDSee metadata, which includes things like categories, keywords, rating, color labels, and other metadata, is embedded to the file. You'll notice too that there's a bottom section here that says ACDSee face data, which includes outlines, names, that sort of thing, that is added in people mode or view mode, is also embeddable to the file. So if I embed this information, then what I can do in the future is I can, in my new version of ACDSee, say 2023 comes along and I have somehow lost my database entirely, but I remembered to embed that information to my files. What I can do is I can go to tools, I believe database and catalog files. And what that will do is it will recreate that information on our files based on our embedded metadata. So those icons that appear on the bottom of our thumbnails do matter. And as I said earlier, if I scroll up here, I'll notice that there's this little icon here that indicates very easily that that this has GPS information attached to it. So if I take a pause here, where is this information stored? Well, that information is listed under that EXIF panel. So if I draw your attention once again to properties section here and I pull open EXIF, right, you can see that this image now has an associated latitude and longitude reference marks. So this tells me where this image was taken in terms of where it is located on a map. But for most users, and also like myself, these qualities, this latitude and longitude qualities, are fundamentally meaningless. I have no idea where latitude 43, longitude 79 is in relation to a map. So how do I find that out? Well, I can do a couple things. The most simple of which is to double click this little icon here. And what that icon will do is it'll pull it up on our map function and tell us where this image was taken. So I'm just going to close this to showcase this again. So you can do this as a method of opening up the map. You can just click on that icon itself. And what it will do is it'll open it up. And if I zoom out here in this folder, my folder that contains these landscape images, I can see that I've added a couple images in relation to where they were taken. So it looks like I have 3 images taken in Toronto. I have 1 image taken off of the coast of Croatia, 1 image taken in Serbia, and 1 image taken in Istanbul. So that provides me an information, if I zoom out, what the contents, where the GPS information actually is. So it's taking this information and actually putting it on a map. So let's zoom into Toronto. And just to be clear too, these images weren't actually taken in Toronto or Serbia or whatever. But the beauty of this map function is that we can place these images wherever we want, right? So it gives us some control there. You'll notice that as I zoom in, there's this little icon here, this little blue icon that has a number 3 associated with it at the bottom. So what this means is this icon that is in Toronto here indicates to us that there are 3 images that are grouped together that were taken in roughly the same area. So if I continue to zoom in, what you're going to notice is that this blue icon will disappear and a different color icon will actually pop up. So I'm just going to keep zooming in. And as you can see, there's now 2 images taken right here and 1 image taken right here. So if I zoom out a bit. So what this is pretty cool. So this showcases to me that 2 images were taken in this area right here, and 1 image was taken in this park area right here. So this red icon is in this case is indicating that this is one. There is not a way to determine that your GPS has been modified. That would be something that you would probably have to track yourself. But in the case of you downloading stock photography and that sort of thing, those fields will generally be cleared, Daniel, so that there won't actually be any GPS data associated with it. So you'll be actually able to interact with this itself. The other thing too is, provided that you have taken the file and you want to preserve this information, you could also make the file a read-only file, and that would, in essence, lock the file from having metadata adjustments made to it, but it also locks it from having development adjustments made to it as well. So just keep that in mind, that you can lock the file from essentially editing these things for yourself, but it wouldn't matter to anyone else. So as you can see, there's this little icon here. And when I click on the icon, it indicates to me that this image, in this case, was located in this location right here. And these two images were located right here. And so the beauty of this is, like I said, as I zoom out, you can see that in relationship with this city here, the city of Toronto, I can click on these three images. And one of the things that's really valuable about this is you can see that those three items are actually highlighted. So when I click on that number 3 here, it highlights those items, and it tells me that that those are grouped. They're associated by their location on the map. Does everybody understand that? I just want to make sure I take a pause to get that. And this isn't the case for images that already have GPS data added. Gary, we're getting to that. Klaus asked, many height cameras do not have GPS information. What is the best method to track, e.g. with the phone, and transfer GPS data to photos taken on the trip where they're tracked? Oh, see, this is actually kind of an interesting comment. So, okay, let's say in the event that you don't actually have GPS functionality on your camera, what you could do is you could take an associated camera photo with your phone, with the GPS turned on your phone on. And then what you can do is you can just link those two things. So when you're going back and you wanted to assign GPS data, you can just use that phone photo for reference. Where is the 3 that you clicked on? So what this 3 indicates is it's this image right here and these two images roughly taken in the same location. And as I zoom into it, right? As I zoom into it, it tells me that there is actually 2 photos here, which I think will in this case be these 2 images right here and the 1 image right here. So this is relatively arbitrary right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually go to a new folder entirely that contains different images. And what we're going to do is we're going to place them on the map. So we essentially define the GPS data themselves. Often I travel in areas where GPS is not accessible. Satellites are obscured. I use reverse lookup in Google Maps to get GPS coordinates. That's awesome. See, that's a really good way of doing that too, Ron. Lucio asked, when I go to the EXIF latitude and longitude, it's kind of blocked. AC doesn't allow me to type anything. Why? It might be such that it is set to read only currently, but also I don't know if I can type, if something has a value in here. Yeah, it's essentially locked. These fields don't want you to manually type in something. They want you to assign it using ACDSee itself. And I guess the reason why is because we're concerned, or ACDSee is concerned, that if a parameter is set without the correct method by which it's set. So in this case, it's 43, 38. It looks like it's an apostrophe, 27 dot, and then a number here, right? It's worried that that this isn't going to be filled in correctly, and then it's going to essentially fail to find. So this information is locked unless we are using the actual map tool itself. Okay, so that's a lot of information to start. Pause. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to navigate to another folder. So I'm just going to turn off my map function for a sec. I'm going to go back to my pictures folder. And then what I'm going to do is, oh yeah, save the map locations. Thank you, ACDSee. I'm going to go to this other folder. So I had traveled to Portugal in 2019 and I downloaded some images off of the internet that I know exactly where these items were taken. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to find these images on the map and assign their actual locations. And to do that, what we need to do is we can do a couple things. We can go to panes and go back to map, and that will open up the map function. But we can also right click on our image and go to map, and then it will give us the ability to place on the map, provided that it doesn't already have a location. So bear with me. Let's go through this process and actually find these locations on a map. So I'm going to right click, go to map, go to place on map, and let's go through the process. So I'll just make this screen a bit smaller so we can see where we're actually going. So this image right here, the first in our grouping, was taken in downtown Coimbra in central Portugal, and it was taken from across the waterline. So we can actually place this ourselves. If we scroll into Coimbra here, this was taken on this river here, the Mondego River, and it was taken right next to this bridge here. So we can guess that this image was roughly taken here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this image. I'm going to draw it towards the map here, and I'm just going to, it'll place it. And as you can see, when I place it, I have the ability to actually move this marker around. One of the notes here is that if the marker has a little dot in the center of it, what that dot indicates to us is that, that this image has yet to be saved. So saving our image is important because otherwise this does not provide a, it does not save this information to that EXIF location. So when I place this, make sure to click save, and then it will update the latitude and longitude in this EXIF column here. And so Lucio, when you went to go click on an image that already has pre-existing EXIF longitude, latitude information, you said it was blocked. What I want you to do is I want you to try actually dragging and dropping your images onto the map itself and going through the process of saving that information, because that's going to be an ability to interact with these fields that doesn't actually involve you typing in them. So while we're in Coimbra, let's have a look at to see if we have any other images taken here. Let's see here. This one. So this one was taken right next to this school here. My guess is it was taken probably here. That sounds right. This is the university here, and this was taken at the university. So I'll save that here. And once I click save, the dot will disappear and the EXI information will be saved. And let's just make sure that there isn't any other ones taken in Coimbra. It doesn't look like there is. So we can navigate to another city. So we'll navigate from Coimbra. We'll just zoom out on our map using our scroll wheel on our mouse, and we'll go up to Porto. So these images were taken in Porto. So this image was taken right here. Approximately, let's say right here. So this is the Douro River. This image was taken next to the Douro River. So that image was taken there. This image, let's see here, was taken likely in a similar location, probably around here, or maybe actually it was taken from across the waterway here, looking at the central city here. And there was also one other photo which was taken at, I believe, this monastery right here. So taken somewhere in this location. And as I'm dragging and dropping these files, once again, I'm taking them, I'm saving them, right? And that information is now being located in the latitude and longitude. And notice that as I scroll out, that 3 is associated there. So that 3 is now grouping those images taken in Porto. And it's only when I zoom in that those images are becoming distinct from each other. They're essentially ungrouped in that section. Okay, we got some questions. John asked, can you copy info from one picture in a folder to all the other pictures? This was asked earlier, and the answer is yes, you can. So what I can do is let's actually showcase this using our next group of images here. So I'm going to navigate away from Porto and away from Coimbra. Actually, I'm curious if I really zoom out. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So if I zoom out to like a country view here, you can see that all of my Portuguese photos are grouped now into a grouping of 5. And when I zoom in, they're grouped into 2s and 3s. Okay, so if we, awesome, I'm happy for you, Lucio. So if I zoom into Lisbon here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my other files here. So I have this image taken, it looks like, in this district of downtown Lisbon. I'm going to guess this was looking at, let's see here, this building, around this building here. Let's just place this. Let's place this right in this Alfalma district here. So if I've placed that, once again, it's going to indicate to me that this needs to be saved. So we'll save that. But what I can do now is I can copy John. I'm going to right click and I'm going to click, let's see here, metadata. I'm going to copy that metadata, making sure just to copy GPS coordinates. And we'll find another image. This image was taken in Lisbon. And I believe that is the last one. Oh, and I have one right here that was taken in Lisbon as well. So what I can do is I can right click on those two images now that they're selected, and I can go to metadata and paste that metadata. And as you can see, my number that was indicated right here was listed at 1 is now listed at 3. So we can see that 3 images were approximately taken in Lisbon here. Okay. Let's see, do I have any more images that pertain to Portugal? Just the last one in Sintra here. So if I zoom out once again, and I zoom into Sintra here, which is this city right here. I can't remember exactly the name of this building, but it was taken probably in this region here. Let's place it on the map. Let's place it approximately here. Oh, if I place that here, once again, save it. Now I have all my Portuguese images saved. And as you can zoom out, or as I zoom out, I can see that that number in Lisbon is 3, that number in Sintra is 1. If I zoom out a little bit more, that set in Coimbra is 2, and the set is Porto is 3. So if I really zoom out and I zoom out to more of a country view, it will amalgamate those two items. So now my items in total centered in Portugal is 9 images. So those images are now, let's just make the map view really small now for a sec. If I actually click on this icon itself, what it does is you can see that it highlights all the images in this folder. So if I click on this icon, I'm actually getting that those values associated in the manage mode here in the preview panel. That being said, also, if I zoom in, it's fairly hard to see here, so I'll just make that a bit bigger. But if I click on Porto, you can see that those images taken in Porto, it looks like Porto and Coimbra because that number was the 5 associated with it. But if I click on Porto itself, then those 3 images are assigned. So this is like a really good way of tracking your images in terms of their location. And as I zoom out, one of the things that I can do here that's really valuable, it's very hard to search for GPS data, but in the sense that there's going to be a huge string of values here that are going to make these very difficult to search for. But one of the things we can actually do here is because we've clicked on this set here, what I can do is I can add a macro level category for these images. So I'll draw your attention over the organize panel here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on categories. And what I'm going to do is I'll assign let's just assign a category, or actually, let's just make a new category for these. I'll just right click on my category and I'll create a new category. And this new category, I'll just call Portugal. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Portugal, and you can see that that's now listed under our categories here. So as long as I have all these Portuguese photos highlighted, right? And we know that they're highlighted because the node is yellow on our map here. As long as those items are highlighted, I can click on Portugal. And as I click on Portugal, a bunch of information pops up on the thumbnails themselves. They now all have a category. So you can see that their category is assigned here. And then the other thing that's worth noting is that they have that embed metadata flag, the pending metadata flag. So what we'll do is, once that we've applied that category, we're just going to make sure to right click our images, go to metadata, and embed ACDSee metadata. And that will make that embed pending metadata icon disappear. So what we can also do is if we zoom in here, right? Let's make these a bit smaller now. So if we zoom in, what we can do is I can click on Porto. Okay. And then now it indicates to me that these 3 images are highlighted. Okay. So those 3 images that were taken to Porto are highlighted. If I go to keywords, let's just add a new keyword. Let's just add a keyword of Porto. So this is different from my category. So these images all have a category of Portugal, but now these images will have a assigned keyword of Porto. So the 3 ones that are highlighted there, and again, they're highlighted right there. You can see that they have the assigned value of Porto. So if we click on Coimbra now, we'll do the same. So those 2 images are the first and the last image in this folder. We'll just add new keyword, and that is Coimbra. And then we'll assign that keyword. And we'll zoom into Lisbon here. And Sintra actually still is technically in Lisbon. So let's see if I can, I'll have to select all 3 here. So what I'll do is I'll click the 3 of these images all together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new keyword, and we'll just add Lisbon here as a keyword. And then what we can do is assign that keyword once again. And what we can do as well is we can actually take this one photo that was taken in a district of Lisbon called Sintra, and we can add a new sub keyword this time. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking on the keyword of Lisbon, I'm adding new keyword, and I'll create a sub keyword, and I'll call that sub keyword Sintra. So, and I'll assign that to this one image here. So before I answer some of these questions that have popped up, let's take a brief foray away from the maps mode here. So I'm just going to close my map for a moment here. And now if I'm in another folder, I'm navigating away from that GPS folder where all my Portuguese images were. If I go to catalog panel, okay, so I'm clicking on the catalog panel, which is on the left here. If I click on Portugal, those images all come up. If I go down to the keyword section, if I go to Lisbon, click on Lisbon, those images come up. If I click on Sintra, that image comes up. If I click on Porto, those images come up. So you can see that once they've been assigned on the map, I can use the map to essentially group those images together. And when they're grouped together, what I can do is I can add metadata that will make it easy for me to search for these files. Let's talk, or let's answer some of these questions. Okay, so John asked, can you copy info from one picture in a folder to all the other pictures in the folder via CL? Oh, well, we talked about copying that based on the EXIF data. So we covered that. Mark asked, does the map window provide Google satellite view? It does. Let's go up to the map mode again. And as you can see, I'll just dismiss this for now. You can see if I click on satellite, there is a satellite function that allows me to see a little bit more directly on the map there. So does that answer your question in regards to the satellite view, Mark? Stanford asked, how do you save the map location? So you can save the map location. There's this little icon here that when I place an image, it's applied to the save all function up at the top here. And to illustrate this, what we'll do is we'll go back to that pictures folder, and I have some photos taken in Tofino here. So if I zoom away from Portugal here and look at Tofino on Vancouver Island here, I'll zoom way in Tofino. I have some images that were taken on Long Beach, which is this beach right here. And I'll select them. So I'll just make this a bit bigger so you can see. So these 2 images were taken there, and this one was as well. And what we'll do is we'll just roughly drag and drop all 3 of these images on the map. And you'll see that a 3 has been indicated here. What we can do is we can click Save All there. And then we have one other image that was taken in downtown Tofino. Town is the emphasis here. And I'll place it, and it looks like it was taken along the waterline here. So I'll click the Save All icon. And as I do so, the icon will lose its dot, indicating that it is saved. And as I zoom out, you can see that those items are saved there. Mark found his own answer. Hybrid mode for the map. Yep. So the 2 is, I prefer the map function, but it looks like you can apply the terrain function for the map there, which showcases the elevation. And then you can switch to the satellite. And it looks like you can turn on satellite with and without labels. Clayton asked, if you're working in a folder with multiple images and placing a number of images, Do you have to save them one by one as you place them, or can you save them all at once? Well, as that's hopefully illustrated to you, Clayton, if I was to go back to a folders section here and I just navigate to my landscape folder here, let's just, I think I have a bunch of images here that were taken in, let's see here. Yeah, I have a bunch of images that were taken in Istanbul. So we'll take all these images here. None of them have map data. And if I just zoom in to Istanbul here, what I'll do is I'll just drag and drop and place these roughly on the map here. And as I do so, if I click save all, what this is going to do, Clayton, is it's going to save that association for all of those images. So I don't need to do this one by one. So if I click save all, they've now been added to the map. And while I'm in here, maybe what I do is I add a macro level category of, let's go on and add a category. I might already have this category actually. Let's see here. No, I don't. So we'll add a category of Turkey. There we go. Apply the Turkey category there, and then those can now be searched as well. Klaus asked, your answer is okay with a single picture, copy and paste, but if you're on a hiking trip, it is very difficult to take a photo picture everywhere. There are programs. I'd like to know the names of these programs and apps. Don't know what you mean, Klaus, sorry. Some of these questions are popping up in chat. If possible, please pop them up in Q&A, but Barbara asked, if metadata already exists on the image, if you copy metadata for one image, another image, and paste it on existing image with metadata, will it override the current metadata or just update it by adding new information? Yeah. So when you click on an image to copy its metadata, so let's copy this Istanbul metadata, for example. When I go to copy it, apparently what pops up is the ability to copy specific metadata. So in this case, it gives me the ability to copy GPS coordinates, was really all we want, right? So what I would probably not want to copy is ACDSee metadata and IPTC metadata. If I was to add these elements in here, these would override whatever already pre-existing metadata I have on another image. So if I just want the map element, just copy GPS coordinates, and I'll click copy here. And let's navigate to some more images taken in Turkey here. I'll say these ones, for example. If I was to right click on these images, go to metadata and paste, what I'm pasting now is just that GPS metadata that I copied. So I'll paste. Now that's been added. And as you can see, one of the things here that's important is that now that has been doubled. So that map, it is now featuring 6 images rather than or 12 images rather than 6. So Barbara, hopefully that answers your question, that you have a bit of customization as to what you're copying. Elaine asked, am I allowed in this chat to share the name of cell phone app that I purchased to easily geotag after shooting? You go nuts, Elaine. I'm not going to stop you. Gary asked, what is the benefit to clicking the reverse geotag on the map? Great question. So if I click on the reverse geocode option here, it looks like it's going to give me this information. So it'll give me the country code, the state, province, the city, and the location. And so if I save that, what comes up there? Let's see here. I wonder if it's going to give me the ability to save that information now that I've copied it as well. Let's see here. Let's find out. I actually don't know what this reverse geocode does. So if I go to the help file, we can ask it. Help contents, reverse geocode. And then let's search here for reverse geocode. The reverse geocoding command allows you to save location information into certain IPTC fields. These include country code, state, province, and location. In manage mode, drag one or more files out on the map, which we've done. Click save all. Press the reverse geocode button to preview the location information. Click save to save this information into the IPTC fields of the selected images. So if I was to go, I've basically saved this image into another field. So if we go back to EXIF, let's see here if the information has been added to that. I'm just not sure where this information is physically saved. Ah, there it is. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Okay, so when I place that information on the map, let's go place some new information, and this answers that question. So let's arbitrarily place this right here. And then if I go to save the map location, so I've saved the map location. So that's added the XIF data to this field, okay, right here. But what's cool about this is I can get the reverse geocode information. And what this will do is it will actually fill out some IPTC columns here. So the city, country code, etc. So once I've actually placed an item on the map, if I go reverse geocode and then save this information. So this was taken in Turkey and Üsküdar in Istanbul. If I click save, that information is now added to the location IPTC, the state and province, the country, and the country code. So which is actually cool because I think now if I wanted to, I should be able to search. Let's search. Let's try searching this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to Üsküdar. I don't think this will come up just because it doesn't have the umlauts. But yeah, if we copy Üsküdar, this should be, there we go. So if we copy to the text, just because I don't have the Unicode for the umlauts here, but if I was to actually copy that the name of this particular part of Istanbul, then I can actually use this to now search for that file, which is pretty cool. Also, by the way, if I was to write in Turkey, I believe all of these images should pop up that I've now added to the geocode here. So that's pretty handy as well. So actually, that's cool. That teaches me a new thing about reverse geocode. But essentially, it takes the map information and then applies it to the IPTC column. So it tells you what city, what region, and also what municipality, if there is one, that was taken in. Does that answer your question, by the way, Gary? Chris asks, can you search across multiple folders to find all photos taken in specific areas? Sadly, no. So this is one of the downsides to the fact that so this mapping function is folder specific, Chris. And so this is the reason why earlier I showed you, I suggested that you add this information to the organized panel. Things like the category of the place that it was added, or a keyword in regards to a specific city or what have you. And the reason why we add those things is now that makes it viewable in over the whole database. But one of the things that's important to note, so if I scroll out, right, scroll all the way out, you can see that, let's see here, if I go to the landscape folder here, I have 14 images taken in Turkey, 2 images in the Balkans here, and then a couple images taken in downtown Toronto. But this is in relation to the folder that it's in. So if I go to this GPS folder, if you can recall, those are the images that were taken in Tofino and Portugal. So as I move to that folder, I'm now get different results on the map. So really important, if you are adding your images to the map, well, you can do a couple things. You can reverse geocode, and what that'll do is it'll enable you to be able to search by the city itself. Or you can add those images to categories or keywords, or you can add some form of reference metadata so that they are searchable in the catalog panel. So I can go to a place like, and I can see my results for Turkey in the cataloging panel, now removed from the actual folder itself. Bruno, I'm not sure why that pops up, but if you send me an email, which by the way, my email once again is aprice@acdsystems.com, I will find an answer why yours is stuck loading. I have a JPEG photo that will not let me set the position on the map. John, it's probably a read-only file currently. That's probably why it won't let you set it on the map. My suggestion would be to go to your properties section, go to the file tab and unclick read only. If it is not, if read only is still unclicked, I'm not sure why it's not allowing you to apply it on the map. But if you email me, we can probably find out the answer. Thank you, Elaine, for that. So for those who are looking for a method to geotagging photos, he's provided a link to that. Gary, thank you. John. Gary asked, I have 4 JPEG files, 3 set location, 1 shows as red. So if I go actually to my other folder here of Portugal, when I scroll in, right, that's when they're going to appear as red as I scroll in. The marker sets it. And if I go to a different city, for example, this one right here, as soon as I get closer to those, the marker will be set as red. A yellow marker indicates that it's selected. A red marker indicates basically where it is on the map. A blue marker indicates a group. And then lastly, when you have pulled an image onto the map and it has not yet been saved, there'll be a little dot in the center of it. Lucio asked, without selecting an image folder, is it possible to see the map, all the points set in my database? As covered previously, no, it is not. You have to go to a specific folder to see those points. But like I said, you can add metadata to be able to bring up those images easily without navigating to the folder itself. Chris asked, can you embed reverse geocode to multiple photos at the same time? Yeah, so okay, so when we've added that that information to, let's see which one of these files has, oh yeah, here it is. It was the one in the Turkey folder. If I have images with this information copied here, you should be able to copy IPTC data when we go to copy metadata. So if I right click on my image, if I go to metadata and copy, obviously I can copy GPS coordinates, but I should be able to copy IPTC content as well. And then I will copy and paste that to whichever images I need. So that is possible. Just note that it might overwrite existing IPTC. Clayton says, I understand dragging a set of selected images and placing them all at once and hitting save all. What if you place images one at a time in different close together spots? The item selected will be changing. What does save all do under those circumstances? So Clayton, what your workflow should be is, okay, you're in a folder and you're placing those images in close together spots, but not identical spots, okay? What I'm gonna get you to do is I'm gonna get you to place all those images. Let's say, for example, you have 12 images you have to place. So you're gonna place those images, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna wait to the very end when all the images are placed to click Save All, because Save All will save all of the images that you've placed on that map in that instance of working with those files. You can, if you want, click Save All after every single image, but it's unnecessary. So what you can get in the habit of doing is, once again, I'll navigate to a different folder. Let's see here. I'll click on my image. Let's zoom out. Where's Cappadocia here, which this was most certainly taken in. I don't actually know where that is. But anyway, let's drag this onto a map. Let's say it was taken in this region here. If I was to take this photo, drag it onto the map. Oh, that's an ACDSee file. That's why that's not allowing me to do that. Drag it on the map. You'll see the icon is now listed as unsaved, right? So I'll drag a couple more images on the map as well. And as you can see, after I've placed all those images, they're all still listed as unsaved. When I go to save all, the dots in the center will be removed, and now that information has actually been added to the EXIF data. So you don't have to do it after every image. You can do it at the end of a session. Is the map view available for ACDSee free version? Doubtful. I actually don't know the answer to that question. Maybe email me and I'll find out an answer for you. Bjorn asked, I was late to the session, will be available on YouTube. Of course, Bjorn, they're always uploaded to YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel, which is ACDSee Photo Studio. And then under the playlist section, there is a section called workshops. If you give me a little bit of time, maybe the next couple of days, I'll have a chance to upload it, but it will definitely be uploaded for next week. So just as a note, that's it for, oh, I guess there's one other thing. No, there is one other thing that before I sign off today, and that is, let's just quickly showcase, let's navigate to another folder. I'm going to navigate to ACDSee mobile sync folder. And let's just upload a new photo from my camera right now. So let me see. I'll go grab my phone quickly just because I put it on a table over here. And what we'll do is we'll use mobile sync to just upload a quick image. So give me one moment here. So ACDSee Mobile Sync is a free app that you can get on your App Store or on Google Play. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click an image I took today. And I have, I'll click on a couple images actually. Let's take a couple images here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click upload them from my phone here and click send. And what it'll do is it'll send these 3 files and you can see them pop up there. And I get a little message from ACDSee Mobile Sync saying that they've been sent. And now what I can do is I can have a look at these images and you'll see that these images taken by my phone automatically have that GPS indicator popped up. So if I go back to my map pane and I zoom in to Vancouver Island, you can see that these images pop up. So when I click on them, I can see the region in which these images have been taken and they'll indicate that to me. So these are just images that I took today on my phone. And as you can see, they already have GPS information involved. And I'm not going to go too far in here. I don't want to dox myself too much, but that's how you take an image. And then when you upload them using ACDSee Mobile Sync, provided that information is turned on, it should pop up there and will indicate automatically that image now has a GPS data associated with it. So just out of curiosity, how many of you are actually familiar with ACDSee Mobile Sync? Is that a brand new concept to you? Like I said, it's a totally free app. It just enables you to move photos quickly from your phone to your ACDSee. And they're put in a folder, in this case, literally just called ACDSee Mobile Sync. New to me, Barbara said I use it all the time. I was happy about that. So Barbara, you're probably familiar with the GPS association with that. I've used it. Thank you for the workshop. You're welcome, Clayton. Use it a lot. New to me. Let's have a workshop on it. Absolutely. It's just hard to showcase your phone screen in a workshop, you know? Awesome. So, and just so you know where that is, if I go to ACDSee, oh, you know what? Actually, let's just go to the website because I can link that right now. If I go to acdc.com and I go to products, I think it should be under mobile applications, ACDSee Mobile Sync. And then it'll give you a link to download it on the Apple Store or the Android Store if you need it. So I'll just link that for you as well. So you can get that for free. Again, there's no cost associated with it. You can just quickly move images off of your phone onto into your it will basically ask you which version of the product you're using. So if you're using Ultimate, it'll just tell you to move it over if you've taken an image on Ultimate. So you're most welcome. Okay, I'm just going to stick around and answer some last couple questions here. Yeah, but that sort of wraps it up for today, guys. That's GPS information. That's how to use the map tool. Once again, you know, please email me if you have any questions that I wasn't able to answer today. But how can you move your photo folders into the InSync? I don't think you can move them back onto your phone. You can just move them from your phone onto the PC. What is the check mark on the bottom of the image? Check mark. Oh, that indicates, so that's metadata, Barbara. And what that metadata indicates is it's just a binary metadata. What I mean by binary is when you have that turned on, it's either turned on or turned off, and that's something called tagging. So if I'm searching for tagged photos using catalog function, let's see here. Let's go to special items. I can bring up images that have been tagged using this special item search here. But an image is either tagged or untagged, and that's all there is to it. So it's just a simple binary way to assign some metadata. Paresh, you're most welcome. Bruno, don't know the answer to that. John, thank you for very much. You're welcome. John, thank you. Kevin, thanks. You're most welcome. Gary, do the map location icon on a picture only available in 2022? Map location icon. The map location icon should go as far back as I think ACDSee 8 or 9. So it should be visible in 2021. Anthony, Thank you. That was a very exciting presentation. They're always valuable. And this is a tool that, like I said, I've never covered before in any of my workshops. So I don't know. It just seems pretty valuable. I've started using it more just to track where photos have been taken. It's pretty cool. Okay, so let's answer some actual questions in the Q&A panel here. People have been putting them in there nicely, and I appreciate that. So yes, Bjorn, we talked about that. It'll be available on YouTube. Chris, can you talk about geotagging HEEC files? I can't seem to add GPS data for them, but they already came with GPS info. ACDSee can edit the locations around just fine. I don't know too much about HEEC files, Chris. I know that was a file type that was only recently supported in ACDSee as of the last couple of years. So perhaps the reason why you can't add GPS data is because they've just been recently added as an introduced file type. Maybe email me in regards to that. I'll get a better answer for you. Clayton, got it. The most important concept is that save uses the map folder combination to save rather than the images, the selected images. Yeah. So it's just whatever you've placed on the map at the time, Clayton. Chris asked, if I have my photos saved on a server, can I install the application onto multiple computers and have them all use the server as the source? Don't know. Have to ask over email. John asked, can you upload to any folder? My stuff usually starts in imports folder. You can copy and paste for ACDSee mobile sync. No, it has to be moved into you can copy them. Oh, actually, you know what? In the app, you probably should be able to set it. Let me just quickly look in the app to see if you can set the location. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, targets. No, that's the computer, file handling, subfolders. There we go. It looks like you can set the folder that you want it in. So possibly, John. Chris asked if I have my photos saved on a server. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll have to, again, you have to email me. I don't know the answer to that. Dean asked, any update on adding the ability to delete all face boxes identified in a group photo where you don't know or care about all the faces? Okay, let me think about this. Sorry, that's a question. So any update on adding the ability to delete all face box identified in a group photo where you don't know or don't care about the faces, rather than deleting them individually? Let's find out. Good question. Does not pertain at all to this workshop, but I'm down to answer it. Let's go to a photo that has multiple people in it. I think this one should. Yeah. So can we delete these face box? Okay, so we can turn that off rather than just clicking on the X, which is a pain in the butt. If you have like 30 people in your image, clicking 30 on an image would probably not be too much fun. What if I just remove faces for this image? There you go. You can remove faces. So if you go to tools, face detection, remove faces, it will remove all the boxes, Dean. Hopefully that answers your question. And you're welcome. Armand asked, is mobile sync a move or copy command? It is a copy command. It does not delete them from your phone. Anonymous asked, which product, Ultimate or Professional, are you using for this demo? I always use Ultimate for all my demos. What is the major difference between those products? I plan to buy one of them. Okay, so Anonymous is a good question. Home, okay, is primarily a photo manager. So it allows you to add metadata and move your images around and categorize them and that sort of thing. It's not a developer, and it has very limited editing functionality. Enter Pro. Pro is a raw developer. So it has a fully developed raw suite, and it still has relatively limited editing functionality. Pro has the same management, functionality that Home does. Okay. So Home is like bare bones. Pro adds the developer. What Ultimate adds is it still contains the developer and it still contains all those management functions, but it has a layered editing suite. So if you make basically, if you make photo compositions and you use layering and masking, if these are terms that you're familiar with, edit mode is for you in Ultimate. Like I said, I use Ultimate for all of my demos because it's a product that contains everything functionally. So there's no omissions in Ultimate, whereas Pro, it has an omission of the layered editor, and Home has the omission of the developer and the layered editor. So I just use it for all of my workshops because it's our premier product. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, we got questions. Should the mobile sync app be on the cell phone or on the PC? It's on your cell phone. It's not an app that actually interacts with your PC. Yeah, it's just app that you download on either the App Store or Google Play. Alan said, thank you. You're most welcome. Donald, you're welcome. Alexander, thank you so much. 23 is going to be probably available end of September, maybe early October. Stephen, Adam, always enlightening to watch your workshops. You're most welcome. Thank you for participating. Jay Nichols asked, geotagging multiple photos using timestamp and GPX file. Sorry, Jay, I don't know. Sonia, merci. Thank you for participating. Gary, thank you. Adam, great as usual. You're most welcome, Gary. I apologize, Sonia. I don't speak French. Unfortunately, we don't have any workshop presenters that do speak very good French, which is too bad because we are a Canadian company and we should have some more French-speaking presenters. But as just because we're located on the West Coast in BC, like I said, we don't have many staff that are French speakers that can instruct people. So I am sincerely apologize for that. I speak English and I speak a very, very small amount of Portuguese. So Dean, you're welcome. Elaine, yes. Chris said, buy the bundle. It's a great deal. Thanks. Bruno, thank you. You're welcome. Chris, excellent presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sonia. And like I said, I'm sorry that I can't offer this service bilingually to you. That is something that I'm sure that ACDSee would be interested in staffing for, though. Barbara, thank you. Okay, everybody, that's it for questions. Like I said, this will be uploaded in the next couple days onto our YouTube page, so you'll be able to watch that again. But that's my hour. And once again, just remember, my email is aprice@acdsystems.com. Yeah, just email me if you have any questions, any suggestions for the product, or anything else that you'd like to communicate. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to mute my mic. I'll leave the chat open a little bit so you can just find any links that you need, aka my email or the YouTube page. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day, and talk to you soon.